Jules Girl Talk. Today I have my guest Denise on. She is a very good friend of mine and a very good person. So everybody be nice and let's bring her on.
Hey, how are you?
How are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm so excited to be a part of this thing.
And who do you have with you?
This is Medea. This is
Oh,
Medea the boa. She's actually being very cooperative right now. She's got my fingers tied up a little bit, but she's being very cooperative. She's
good.
a
She
sweet
heard
girl.
that I was coming, so
Yes,
she just
yes.
cooperate. I have that effect sometimes, so
I had to do the female.
you
You know
have
what
to.
I mean? Right.
Have to.
Exactly.
So let's start from the beginning. So
Okay.
what first developed your interest in reptiles?
That's a good question. I've always been an animal person. I grew up in a house full of people and full of animals. I was the baby of five.
Oh
So
wow.
we always had the normal cats, dogs, guinea pigs, hamsters, bunny rabbits, the whole 9 yards. But my dad was unique in that he was an animal lover. But my daddy, if we had a mouse in the house, he would catch it with gloves on and go let it out in the woods. My
Oh,
dad would leave the garage door open so raccoons could come in and eat. That's the animal person that I grew up under. So it wasn't a far jump for me to go to reptiles. And so I first started with bearded dragons. I heard they were one of the top 10 pets for children, which they are good after the initial setup, because they're
yes, the
expensive in the
setup
beginning.
is so intense for new keepers on
It
bearded.
is.
There's
It
so
is.
much to it.
It is. But they do love people.
They do.
So that started it out. Since then, I met my husband in 2017, and he didn't love reptiles, but he loved me. So, and I loved reptiles. So now, 66 animals later, here we are.
Did you
I
have any?
just say I
Did
have
you
six.
have any before him? Before
A bearded dragon, another bearded dragon before him,
nice, nice.
and he came on, and I told him, um, I said, I got a surprise for you, and he said, what is it? And I said, get in the car. And we drove and got another bearded dragon. Surprise. So it was shortly after that we got our first snake, candy corn. Um, and it has progressed from that.
Nice.
So
Do you have any particular reptile that you favor more than the others?
we have tarantulas, scorpions, turtles, tortoises, skinks, bearded dragons, uromastics, um, chameleons. I'm trying to think, all different kinds of snakes. But I think my favorites are probably the snakes. Reason being, you know how people say they love to look at a fish tank because it's so relaxing? It is relaxing to me for a snake to crawl through my fingers. So I would say the personality, the lizards have a lot of personality, but I think the snakes are about some of my favorites.
The snakes I'm also particular to. They're definitely my favorite. To me, they're just the easiest to care for.
They are.
I never have to worry about, oh, are they getting enough heat? Are they getting enough
Yeah.
humidity? They're fine.
You
So
can go out of town. We have all of our animals. My husband is a wizard with all things, um, all their enclosures and everything.
mhm.
And so everything's on timer. So you can go out of town for the weekend and you don't have to worry. And
Yep,
snakes
that's how
can
ours
go,
are.
a week or so. Behind me is Esther, the veiled chameleon. He built this. I don't know if you can see it real well, but it has it has live plants, it has electricity, it has a water feature in it, it has the plant lights, everything she needs. So I just have a vision of something and he makes it come to life. And so
Well,
we
that's
can go
what
out of town.
husbands
We don't have
right?
to worry about them. They're good.
That's what
So
husbands are for, making your dreams come to life. That's what
exactly.
they're for. We have all of ours on a timer. I have an automatic misting system too,
Yep.
which is
Same.
so nice. So, one of the first things that I talked to you about when I first met you was, so what kind of reptiles do you breed? And you told me none. And I was like, huh,
Hi.
why? So why?
I think the reason I don't really have a great reason except that um first of all, none of our animals cohab, and we could if we wanted to breed them. There's not really a good reason except I would want to keep them all, and I would be devastated if something happened to the eggs and something
Right.
didn't come out right or whatever. So we just never have. We had a corn that laid eggs and we were freaking out, but they were just duds. So we don't there's not really a good reason.
Hey, and no
Maybe in the future,
reason,
who knows?
no reason is still a good reason. I just find that really fascinating because I've bred reptiles ever since I started keeping them. And
Right.
I think it's so commendable for you to not do that.
Yeah.
Because you can doesn't mean you should.
Should. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That was really the main thing I wanted you on here
Yeah.
for because you're a female
It
keeper,
is different.
but not
Yeah.
a breeder. So
Yeah. It is different.
So what aspects of reptile ownership have you found to be more challenging compared to like dogs or cats?
Um, well, their needs are very, very specific. One thing with reptiles, you might have one that needs high humidity and one that needs no humidity. You
Right.
have one that needs UVB, one that needs belly heat, and one that needs um, the UVB above.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that is challenging. The most annoying part about reptile keeping is the laws and the people that sit behind a desk that dictate what we can keep and what we can't keep.
Right. And you live
Um,
in Alabama, so there's a lot more laws there compared to here
yes.
in Tennessee. And I'm from Ohio, where there's a lot of laws because of the Zanesville incident. I'm not sure if you heard about that. There was a keeper who let out all literal lions, tigers, and bears.
Oh my.
And it completely changed Ohio's laws ever since then. So I moved here.
Wow.
I was able to keep bigger constrictors, which I like. I don't have anything too big at the moment, but eventually they'll all grow. So
Yeah. One time, black and white tegus were illegal, but you could have red tegus.
yeah,
Now you can't have any tegus.
I
I
have a
can't
red
legally keep reticulated pythons, and they're so beautiful and they're so sweet. And yes, they get large, but I can handle it. And so for someone to sit behind a desk and tell me that I can't do that is when other people can have cats and dogs, they can have, pit bulls get a bad rap. Oh, pit bulls are so dangerous.
Mhm.
Well, th- they get to keep pit bulls, but I can't
Yeah,
keep a reticulated python.
yeah.
So, and
Arguably, people keep a lot of dogs, especially around children and babies.
right,
Don't see the kind of negativity as keeping snakes, which I don't agree. You should keep large constrictors around small
right,
children.
right,
People will
right.
freak out about a ball python near a child, but they'll let their American bully in their face.
Yeah. Over 800,000 people a year go to the ER because their pet dog bit them.
Ugh.
If you look up a study for how many people's pet snake bites them and they go to the ER, it's zero. There's never been a study done. I've been bit by several of my snakes, just a little pop.
Yeah.
And you don't even need a Band-Aid. You get a paper towel and you're good to go.
Yep. Yep. I had my black dragon. He latched on to my thumb not that long ago. And afterwards, I wiped it off, and it wasn't even as bad as a cat scratch.
Oh no, I'd much rather be bit by a snake than scratched by a cat.
Yes, especially my cat. He's polydactyl. He has the extra, all of that. He's nuts. He's nuts.
Yeah. Hold on. Live action here. Medea's gone in the shelving unit, and she's so strong. Okay, I got her.
That is why I will never get an animal out in a car. Like, I'll get from a show, and I want to get it out so bad, but I'm like,
say goodbye to Medea. She's gonna go to my husband. Here you go, Chris.
Oh, goodbye. Yes,
Good night, Medea.
I have this girl or guy. I haven't sexed yet. It was dropped off at my doorstep the other day because somebody moved out of an apartment and left all of their pets.
Wow.
So that's how I got this. I got a leopard gecko. I got a couple other things, I guess. Oh,
I'll just hold Cheddar Belle instead.
Oh, that's so pretty. It's a tangerine.
Yes.
That's so pretty. I love leopard geckos. I have a few.
Yeah, I know.
Got one from me.
Yeah, we got bags from you.
Yes.
This is Cheddar Belle.
Oh, I have such a hard time coming up with names. I really.
All 66 of our animals have names. All 66.
I can't say the same.
Even our scorpions, our spiders, everybody has names. We remember them.
Roaches. I do name some of my roaches. So there's that. I have Bebop and BB, and a bunch.
You can tell them apart.
They're so cute for some reason. I don't know. They're just.
Can you tell them apart? One has wings and one doesn't.
Well, I can. So I only have 6 of the Halloween hissers.
Yeah.
So far I can tell them apart until they all start having babies. Then I won't be able to.
Well, we do have a roach colony, but we do not name our dubias.
We have a dubia colony. It's not doing as well as I would hope. Chris,
my husband, can help you out. He can make some dubias flourish.
For some reason I can't. I accidentally bred chameleons. I got a bunch of chameleons from somebody. They laid eggs, and then now I just had 18 babies hatch out.
And they're so tiny, I bet.
Oh, here's my finger. Oh, let me get the one with the nail, not my missing nail. It's probably to about here on my finger.
Oh,
little.
Gosh.
They're so little. And I wasn't sure if they were going to hatch or not because it takes 6 months to incubate. So this happened about 6-7 months ago. And then they all started popping out. And I said to Chris, I was like, Chris, I told you they'd hatch out. He did not think they would.
That's great.
Yeah, I do not. If we name them, we keep them. Yes. If I have an animal that I've produced and if I know I'm not going to keep it, then I can't name it or else I will be distraught.
Yeah, I know. That's my thing.
Yeah. Yep. So back onto our woman topic, since this is Girl Talk with Jules.
Yes.
So, do you believe that? Oh, here's Chris. Here's sweet Chris. There he is.
Yes, sweet Chris.
This is what happens if you disrespect animals around Denise. Not that Chris ever would, because he
did it. He didn't do it.
But she will get you. She'll give you the Chris treatment. So, do you believe that women receive the same level as respect as men do in the hobby?
I think so. I know a couple of female breeders. Most of the ones that I know, like yourself, they're a husband and wife kind of team.
Mm-hmm.
I know a couple that are just women by themselves, but I think if you're knowledgeable and if you can tell if somebody truly loves their animals or not. If they're knowledgeable, I think that they do.
Yeah.
There is that, there could be that cockiness factor, but for the most part, I have made so many friends in this industry, yourself included, Jules.
Aww,
love you.
Special.
But I think that the ones that I have met, I thoroughly enjoy spending time with, talking with, and respect them immensely. Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How long have you been coming to reptile shows? I feel like I've been seeing you so often, but then we never talked until a couple shows.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Gosh, it's been a couple of years. It's just become a hobby, something Chris and I enjoy doing. It's nothing for us to get a hotel and go for the whole weekend, Um, and we rarely leave without something. This past weekend in Atlanta, we picked up a very, very dehydrated, very, very sick, Silky,
Yeah,
this bearded
tell
dragon.
everybody the story on him.
We saw him in Nashville a couple of weeks ago. This vendor was one of those vendors that has all types of different animals, which typically, I mean, sometimes I like that. He doesn't know, I don't know what he breeds necessarily, but he just has all types of things.
I don't think he breeds anything.
He doesn't.
It's
This,
what we call a flipper in the industry.
I think his wife does breed leeches, I think.
Okay.
But um we saw this bearded dragon, this particular bearded dragon, and I have pictures, and he's just was pitiful. He was skin and bones, and just his eye was matted shut. He was in some bad shape. And so I went to the man and I said, "Hey, I would be willing to take this on as a project if it's something you are interested in." And he said, I said, you have to come off the price a little bit because this is it's going to cost money at the vets and stuff. He cussed me. He was mad. He said, "You ain't getting none of my animals."
What?
I've never reported a vendor before, but I immediately went and found the guys, and they made him take it off the table. And I was not his favorite person. He was mad. And then I was mad at myself that I didn't just buy the bearded dragon. But he had to take him off the table. Well, this past weekend, I saw him again in Atlanta. And I walked past his table, and immediately my heart dropped when I saw this same bearded dragon on his table.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked to Chris. He said, if this is something you want to do, that's fine. Although we knew it was going to be a huge undertaking. Silkies it's unethical to even breed them.
Yep. And then silkies, for anybody that doesn't know, it's when you breed what is it?
Leatherback and leatherback.
Yep, a leatherback to a leatherback.
Yeah. They lose arms and legs. They lose toes. They shed their whole life. They have really poor vision, or they go blind. It is like living your entire life in a constant state of sunburn. He can't have any he can't have any trees. He can't have any rocks in his enclosure. He'll rip his skin open.
Yep. And he can't have full spectrum UVB that you would use.
No, they have to have low UVB, 5%. The heat has to be less, and the bedding, we're using paper hamster bedding. The humidity has to have, normally beardies don't need humidity. They have to have humidity for them they shed their whole life. It's really a sad life. Anyway, so I knew the man would not let me have this bearded dragon, so I gave a guy my credit card and told him to go buy it because I figured he'd recognize Chris too.
Yeah.
I said, "Go get that bearded dragon off of that guy's table." So he went and used my card, swiped my card, and got it and brought it back to me. When we brought him home, we spent the weekend at the hotel. We brought him home. He was 258 grams. We had another bearded dragon about the same length that was over twice that size. So from Sunday, we weighed him. It was 258 grams. Tuesday, he was 285 grams. He had already put on over about 30 grams.
Wow. And that's a lot for an adult beardy to put on.
Because he's eating good, but I have to hand feed him. He won't eat a bug. He won't eat leafy greens. We just got back from the vet probably 20 minutes before I logged on here. And we've got some ointment for his eyes, and we've got some other things we're going to do, some for gut check and stuff. So, but anyway, it's not for the faint of heart. And so when I see things like this, I have to it's like somebody that rescues kittens. I mean,
right. It's hard to look away. It
it
really
is. It
and
is.
knowing that you have the knowledge and know how to do it, it's so hard to.
Yeah.
And it's hard to also give them money for something that you're going to put so much money into that they have just devastated.
Yeah. Well, we knew. I said in the beginning, and I told Chris, I said we may be paying a couple of $100 just to give this thing a proper burial.
Yep.
Because then that's the reason we named him Lazarus. Because if he lives, it's going to be all God. Let me tell you. Because he wouldn't even lift his head. Mm-hmm. Now he's sitting up like a normal beardy. So, but let me tell you, this is very sweet. We've started doing a small group with our church for kids. They come at our house every Friday night and just come through our house, and we talk about animals and we talk about reptiles, and we've had a great, huge success with that. Well, one of the little girls, she's about 12 years old. When she heard about Lazarus, she came to our house and gave me and Chris a card with cash in it and said, I want you to put this towards. What's happening? What is happening? I want you to put this money towards Lazarus's care. So we're making an impact on the world for Jesus and for reptiles together. So it works out great.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Sorry, I'm still laughing at that.
That's hilarious. I don't know what's happening. Just so you know, we're not in charge of that.
That's Steve that does that. Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Steve. Oh, bye, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
Anyway, oh my gosh. All right, Steve.
All right, that's a little bit better. That's our scaleless corn snake, Sajak.
Oh,
that's Big Bertha, the bird eater.
Nice.
Goliath bird eater.
All right, Steve, what else do we got? Let's see. Don't let me down now. Don't do that. Okay. Oh, there's the picture. Anyway, so let's talk about, tell me about Reptile Adventures.
Oh, let me tell you about Reptile Adventures. Reptile Adventures is my heart. So
on my screen, Steve.
That's Flossie, by the way. My sister's little monkey, Flossie.
Oh.
So a couple of years ago, we met through the internet a guy named Paul Hernandez from Ohio, from your home state. Yeah, from Ohio. He was just a really neat guy. He just has some gorgeous animals, and we've purchased 3 animals from him through Morph Market. And so we've communicated back and forth. If I have a question, I'll ask him. He's very knowledgeable. And so I said one day, I was like, oh, did you have a good show? He does shows in Ohio out there. He said, no, I didn't do a show. I did a birthday party. And I said, oh, Chris and I would love to do that sometime. That sounds like it'd be fun. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, it is fun. So a few days later, he's like, hey, I wanted to talk to you more about that. Fast forward, he said, I'd love to have. So he owns the rights to the LLC for Reptile Adventures. He said, what if we did a Reptile Adventures Alabama branch where Chris and I, go to the libraries, birthday parties, homeschool events. He's even done weddings. That's
so fun.
You name it.
It's so
it's about conservation. It's about education. It's about kids. It's all about the kids.
Yep,
and hands-on. So we have several little parties under our belt, and we have a great time. We go to your house or your party event, your venue, and we bring 12 to 15 animals and just let the kids have hands-on experience, get them touching them, ask questions.
I used to do that. I used to go around for free. Anybody that wanted, schools.
Yeah.
My favorite place to go was nursing homes. Because with children, you have to, kind of watch what you say. Because they're like, how do you tell if it's a boy or girl? And I can't be like, well, one has balls and one doesn't. But with adults, you can. You can be as upfront as
Breasticles.
you want, and it's a ball,
Right.
man. I had so much fun going into nursing homes.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So if you ever get the opportunity to do one at a nursing home,
Yeah,
it is a blast. You'll get the funniest questions.
that is great.
It's
Well, my
great.
mother-in-law's in a memory care facility, so that actually we have a connection there. I do need to
Yeah.
reach out to them and see if they're interested.
My favorite one though was I was at a school once. Sorry, I'm thinking about it. I was at a school and I had just gotten a baby bearded dragon. And I was going through and letting all the kids like pick a name, and the best name that's his name. So I get all the way to the end, and there's this kid next to all the teachers. So I know he's bad because the teachers all have their hands on him. They're like, shh, don't say anything. I ask him, I go, what do you think I should name it? He looks me dead in the eyes and goes, Yo Mama.
So you definitely named it Yo Mama, right?
Then I definitely named it. I didn't say it there. I was like, oh, which name is like Flower or whatever. But when I left, I was like,
funny.
Yo Mama.
Yo Mama. We had a garter snake that I could not think of a name. I could not think of a name. Chris finally said, if you don't hurry up and name that snake, we're going to end up having to call it Jane Doe. I said, that's its name. Her name is Jane Doe. So
Yep.
she's Jane Doe.
I love it. Yeah, Yo Mama was great.
Yo Mama is great.
I'm giving her to a friend, and she still has Yo Mama. And
That is awesome.
So
that's hilarious.
So yeah, that's awesome. So when you're talking about your reptile hobby and everything, who do you thank the most for getting you to where you are?
Oh, gosh. I would have to say, do you mean in the industry or out of the industry?
Either or.
Okay, I'm going to do two.
Okay.
In the industry, I would credit Paul Hernandez because he has given Chris and I this opportunity to be a part of Reptile Adventures, and that's going to continue just to soar. So he's way up there. But ultimately, it would definitely be Chris, my husband, because without him, I could not do this. He does. I'll just say one day, I sure would like to have a blue tongue skink. And he sits on the couch and gets on his phone and there he is, does research, everything I want. I'll say, well, I wish we had a place for some tortoises and turtles. He goes out back and builds that. So for that, I would have to say Chris, because I would have a snake in a box if it weren't for him. And instead I have my home is covered wall to wall in beautiful enclosures that have the proper lighting, the proper temperatures, the proper substrate, the proper plants, all the things. So yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. I remember there was a point where I was in a relationship that the guy didn't like reptiles.
No, out.
Yep, it just doesn't work. When one person is too into something, the other person has to be in it. I mean, we bond over it all the time.
Yeah, that would have been a deal breaker for us. When we first started dating, we had deal breakers. Like, that would be a deal breaker for me. That would be a deal breaker for me. That would have been a deal breaker for me. Fortunately, he was willing to learn. Like I said, he never had reptiles, but he was willing to learn. And he's went from 0 to 100, because when we started, he knew nothing. He knew that, I mean, we would drive down the road and he'd say, that creek over there is probably full of water moccasins. That was the extent of his knowledge.
Right.
Now he can tell you morphs and types and what they eat and what they don't eat and
there's
how
something
much.
So bonding about being able to do this with your significant other. It's just
absolutely
being able to learn off of each other.
Yeah.
Just hang out in the same.
And we both have our strengths. There's things that I do better than him, and there's things that he does better than me. And so we give each other the freedom to be able to do what you do best. You do that best.
Yep.
When it's feeding day at the zoo, first of all, it's always Team Willis. We always say hashtag Team Willis. He's in one room getting the rats or mice ready. And he says, okay, I need Vanna, Sajak, and Douglas. And I say, okay, gotcha. I go get them. All right, go back. I need Opal, Chiquita, and Left Eye Lucy. Okay, get them and go back. So it's a team effort, and we work good together in that.
Nice. Yeah, that's my favorite. One of my favorite things about my Chris is that we both love reptiles, and we actually met at a reptile show of all places.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, yes. Well, Denise, thank you so much for joining.
I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thank you. I am so glad. I know it was kind of last minute when I reached out, and I'm like,
oh, it's fine.
What's up?
Well, it worked out great. I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Yes, I am so glad. And hey, I might have you on some other time as a part 2.
Sounds
just because
good.
you're great on here.
All right, sounds great. Thank you,
All right,
sister.
Denise. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.
Bye.